It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called McLaren Motorfest Selection, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, before we get into it, if you're looking for any of my Motorfest Pro settings, you can go to militiagamingco.com, click on Motorfest Pro settings from the top, and there you'll find all of my tunes, and they're fully updated to date. All right, let's get into it. So the cars in this week's Summit Bundle are the McLaren 765 LT Hypercar and the McLaren 12C GT3 Racing Car. You're going to need a few additional vehicles this week as well. I recommend the T50S Hypercar, the 110 Hypercar, and for this one, you want Score Breaker with Skilled and Pure, and then the Ferrari F12 TDF Hypercar, and then you'll also need a drag car with Nitro Chemist with Pure and Frenetic, and then a P51 Mustang Plane with Score Breaker, Skilled, and Pure as your affix. All right, the keys to the Summit are 100% the cuts. There's a lot of cuts in this Summit. There's a lot of off-road, and that's because the nature of these races, most of them are the find the clues or follow the clues type races, which opens the door for lots of cuts because there's just no checkpoints. Anyways, let's get into it. Here are the pro settings, and then we'll get into the events. All right, the first event is called 765 LT Test Drive, and this course is actually just the riding in my Buick course. So there's lots of cuts on this one, and I did quite a bit of grinding on this course. So I have a few different things we can look at. Let's fast forward to the first little cut. It actually happens right here after that first right-hander. You'll stay right and go on the dirt road. And then you're going to want to stay to the left over here because you have to make a right-hand turn. This wasn't the cleanest from me, but what I recommend is using this tank here and this whatever this is to sort of bounce off of this and go right onto the road. I totally messed it up, but you get the idea of the shortcut. You got to get close to this, otherwise the checkpoint will not pop for you. Let's try to get close to that, and then you'll get the checkpoint. All right, going around this corner here with the checkpoint of the tunnel that's at the top of the hill, you can actually skip a lot of this by heading up this hill right here. Make sure you nos in the air, miss the trees if possible. I actually kind of got a little wonky there once I landed, but you get the basic idea. This shortcut definitely could be optimized a little bit, but there you go. All right, now on this one, you've got the clue that says you're going to take this very sharp U-turn, and you used to be able to just make a right when you get to the bottom of the hill and just go straight off the cliff. You can't do that anymore because they moved the checkpoint down the street a little bit, and so you actually have to attack this from the opposite side. So basically what I do is go off into this tree, control speed as much as possible. Once the checkpoint pops, you turn right and nos off the hill. So just sort of a workaround for them, you know, moving that checkpoint. Right here you'll cut through the gas station. This is actually where the game is telling you to go, but it's kind of a cut as well. Approaching these three trees, you can cut this corner as well. I cut it, you know, maybe a little bit too deep. I should have stayed closer to the corner, but you can do it that way. You can also do a small corner cut here on this corner. If you cut it too much, it won't give you the checkpoint. All right, another big time saver is the ice cream shop cut here, or snow cone shop cut. You basically want to hug the building. It's a really tight gap, so you're going to have to really understand what you're doing. It's a tough one, but you're shooting for between the big snow cone and this sign right here between the building and the sign, and then try to point the car to the left because you don't want to run into that house that's right there, and you'll be back on the road. That'll save you a lot of time right there. And that's pretty much it. Let's move on. All right, the next event is called McLaren Freeway, and this one has 0 cuts in it. I tried this with a few different cars. I tried it with the Agera R, tried it with the 110, I tried it with the F12. I got the best time with the F12. A lot of the top of the leaderboard has the best time with the F12, but the reality is you just need a car with a good top speed, and you need a slipstream partner to get a really, really good score. You can get a decent score by yourself. You definitely don't need a slipstream partner, but if you do have one, it's going to make things a lot easier for you. provided that you guys both have, you know, a similar driving skills. There is one corner at the top of this hill that really is challenging, so I'll give you a little bit of advice there, and then we'll call it quits for this one. But basically, you want to stay as far left when you're coming out of this tunnel. Wait just a little bit, slow down, and then cut into the apex. So it's pretty simplistic, but there you go. When you get to the end of this, when you get to this downhill section, make sure you're blasting NOS and try to keep the car above 300 miles per hour. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Hypercar Rally, and this is with the McLaren 765, I believe. Anyways, there was a few cuts on this one as well. It's another follow the clues. There's, you know, only the clue checkpoints, so lots of room. Anyway, first one is not too far from the start here. Go between these two big trees. Reset when you get to the road. Good to go. Then there's another cut here at the top. Let's fast forward. This is the Simji skip. Just to the right of the telephone pole. NOS in the air. That was a very close one. Almost hit the wall. But there you go. You can cut this corner on the right. And I strongly recommend downshifting early on this corner, because you're going to go across this one on the right. And you want to control your speed going through there. All right, if we fast forward up this hill, you basically are going to have this S-shaped clue here. You don't have to do the first part of it. You only have to do the very, very end where the head of the arrow is there. So you basically want to just beeline it for those trees. So I'm going to back it up so you can see it. But basically, watch, you're going to go across the grass here. So let's just get a run up so you can kind of see the line, the idea of the line. So you come up this bridge here. Hug the right side on this right hand turn, and then go straight towards these trees. You're looking for this tall tree. You're just to the left of that. There's a pack here. You want to go straight towards that. When you get close, you're going to start turning left, because you don't want to go into this grass. You want to stay on the road. All right, on this one, you're going to cut to the left and reset. All right, when you reset, you'll just follow the clues here. Make your left-hand turn and go through the gas station. All right, on this one, just like the grand races, you'll just cut this corner on the left. I did it very poorly. I lost a lot of speed there. You can definitely improve on that. And that's basically it. Just make sure when you come across this second bridge, you really brake hard and downshift, because that corner is kind of tough. It's very easy to miss that corner, but that's it for that one. Let's move on. All right, the next event is called Grand Tourism, and for this one, I'm using the T50. There's quite a few shortcuts on this one as well, being that it is another follow the clues race. So let's fast forward to those. The first one here is across the beach. Use your NOS in the air. Again, in the air, NOS. Got to keep that speed going. You can cut this corner on the left here a little bit. I missed the cut a little bit, but just to keep some speed, you can do it. And the same thing with this corner. You can kind of cut across the grass here. It's kind of a weird corner. I strongly recommend cutting the grass on this one though, because the turn is way sharper than you think it is. Now, as far as this stuff here, I know you guys are going to be thinking, how do you keep your car straight when you're off-road? This is a question I get a lot. You have to keep the throttle pinned. If you let up the throttle even just a little bit, the car is going to want to spin. So make sure you're holding the gas the entire time. If you need to control your speed, use your brakes, downshift, whatever you got to do, but just keep your gas pinned the entire time. So go across here, cut, and then you'll cut through these brick wall here, kind of, you know, curve it a little to the left, and there you go. It's a really rough one because there's a bunch of jumps, so you're gonna have to kind of play with it and find the line that works best for you, but that's essentially what you need to do. All right, this one with the buses, you can cut this corner as well. You can probably cut it a little tighter than I did, but that's basically the last cut. There is one optional cut at the end. I chose not to take it for some reason on this run, but you can do it. Let me fast forward to it real quick. Basically, when you get to here, you can actually cut to the right of this vehicle and this hut, and it'll still give you the checkpoint here on the right side. So you're welcome to do that if you want. I ended up going around, but it is what it is. I still messed up the corner, by the way. All right, let's move on. All right, the next race is called Off Track, and I'm 100% sure the devs are trolling us with this one, because the two racing events that we had to do there's just a ton of off-road cuts. So this is another one like that. It has a lot of off-road cuts. You're going to be using this McLaren 12C racing car. This is just unbearable. Anyways, keep the throttle pinned off-road. That's the only advice I can have for you. If the car starts to slip, you gotta counter steer right away. So anyways, there's your first cut right off the bat. Cut that corner at about 16%. You're gonna cut this corner as well. And then just after this, I think it's about 19 or 20%. You're going to cut to the left. Try to stay to the right of this tree that's down. And then just follow up this hill going towards that next checkpoint. You can see the, little checkpoint marker. Reset when you get to the water. And then follow this around. Get as much speed as you can. NOS in the air here. And go up the hill. Reset when you're in the air. When you get around this reset, slow down for this downhill here. You're going to go to the left. And this is not the cleanest way to do this. I didn't mean to hit that, but the car slid a little bit. You basically want to just get down the hill. Now after this, you have a little bit of a choice you can make. I did it both ways. And it seems like it works out the same either way. I was within a second of my other time. You basically can cut this to the left right away and just start heading towards the checkpoint. Or you can go around this left-hander that's up here on the right. Go, or I guess straight ahead. And then you go left. And when you get to the end of that road, then head straight for the checkpoint. If you just don't want to be off-road as much, you can do it that way. If not, you can do it this way. So this one was a little bit sketch, but I figured it out. And I didn't really go that fast. It was more of a safe run. I was trying really hard not to hit any of these trees and die. So it is what it is. Anyway, you go through the checkpoint, then you go straight to this next checkpoint and get yourself back on the road. This bridge at 48, you can cut both corners, both on both sides of it, I should say. And then there's going to be another cut similar to this on another left-hander. So let's fast forward to that. It's right here at about 73%. You can cut that corner before and cut this corner right after the bridge. All right, then at 83%, your visual cue is the last flag in this row of flags. You're going to cut to the left of it. Stay on the beach. Try to avoid the sticks. Avoid the trees on the right. And regain your traction on the road. You can cut that corner on the right as well. I think that might be the end of the cuts. Let me fast forward. Yep. That is the last of those cuts. All right, let's move on. All right, the last event is called McLaren Orange. And of course, you're going to be using the McLaren for this one. And there's not really a ton of cuts necessarily, but there's a few things I suggest you do. One is to take that corner very tightly. The next is to not overdrive the course. It's very easy to do so. There's a lot of really tight, sharp corners. So just be careful, especially when you've got these long straights, because right after these long straights, you're going to have a corner. Make sure you stay to the left and then cut in for the corner. It's just simple, racing, but I just have to remind you because there's quite a few of those. Anyways, let me see if there's any actual cuts in this one. There's not really any cuts, but there's a corner coming up here and there's a few little corner things that you can cut the corner on. I recommend go ahead and try that. But on this last corner, it becomes a little bit like really, really tight at the end, and it's interesting. Like if you just put two wheels on the sidewalk, you're gonna end up, understeering and sliding and going wide. You gotta get all four wheels on the pavement, or on the sidewalk here. So you basically want to get it at an angle where all four can fit here and not hit the building, just like that. It gives you a lot more traction and you cut the corner a lot nicer. So anyways, don't really have any other suggestions there. It's yeah, there's not really any cuts. So anyways, let's move on. All right, here are my 3 feats in their entirety, and I will be back with the final scores. right, here are my final scores. Remember, you can DM me with any questions. I answer every single message that comes my way on Instagram and Discord. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope this helps. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.